Hello there. My name is Edward and I'm 34 years old. I'm a manager in a business advisory firm. My specialty? I consult startups and help them scale their businesses. 6 months ago, I was the senior startup business advisor. I had a team of 4 people with me. We used to analyze startups, audit them, and make a future course of action for them. And now I've become a manager. It is an interesting job. We have helped several startups sustain, thrive, and grow. The job pays well, the team is good, and everything is fine. But let me tell you, it wasn't always smooth sailing like this. When I joined, I had one massive bump in the road. My boss, Jeffrey. He wasn't exactly my biggest fan from the very beginning, and the aversion grew as time went by. We didn't always see eye to eye, but I was good at my job, and he needed a pretty good reason to kick me to the curb, and I wasn't willing to give him one. My team had my back whenever things got messy. I still remember it was my second week on the job, and I needed Jeffrey's help. I went up to him and he was downright rude and mean for no apparent good reason. It was like any other regular day, but little did I know that he would be raining down hell on me. "Hey Jeff, I need your help. There's this client who..." "First of all, it's Jeffrey to you." "Alright, I'm sorry, my bad." "And secondly, I am busy. I can't help you with anything. I got my own stuff to take care of." "I know, Jeffrey, I'm so sorry, but it's urgent. We'll need you for this one." "All right, you have a minute." "Okay, so here's the report. We've analyzed and audited the startup for this client, and he needs us to make a strategy to reduce cost, so there's an increase in the net profit." "All right, so?" "So we've been thinking about it, and there's very little room to minimize cost. The cost of production and logistics are operating at optimum efficiency. We can cut some costs on the marketing budget, but it's not advisable. It may affect the revenue significantly. So we've instead made a plan to increase the marginal revenue from operations. There will be an addition to the cost incurred, but the increase in revenue would marginally increase the net profit, we believe." "What do you need me for?" "I went to the director with this proposal, and he wants you to take a look and authorize it if it's all right. So I just need you to go through it and give us a thumbs up if you feel it's fine." "You went to the director? What happened to the hierarchy? You should have come to me first." "I know, Jeffrey. However, the director personally assigned me to manage this client. He is a close friend," he said. "He strictly told me to bring matters regarding this client to him directly. I thought you knew." "I know, but I am your manager. The director doesn't know how things work at this level. You're supposed to come to me every time you're planning to propose a plan to the client." "But I thought that you already knew all of this, and you were okay with it." "Of course, I have to be okay with it. What do you think? I'll disagree with the director of this company? But you should have known better." "I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I didn't know this is how it was supposed to be. It's only been 2 weeks since I joined. I'll keep this in mind from now on." "Jeez, I knew it was a mistake hiring you. A little common sense is the least we expect from the people who work in this office." "I didn't know this, Jeffrey, and nobody told me about all of this." "Give this report to my secretary, and next time you want to meet, get an appointment first. Some of us here have a lot of work to do, unlike you." "I'm sorry. I'll make an appointment first next time." "Now get out of here." I had worked in 2 offices before joining this one, and never have I ever seen anyone talk to a new employee like that. A little common sense would have been Jeffrey actually telling me about how things worked, instead of expecting me to know all of it on my own. I mean, it's not like a little bird is going to come and whisper these things in my ear, but I thought maybe he was just not in the right mood, so I let it go. I came back to my cubicle and one of my coworkers, Gary, saw Jeffrey yelling at me. He asked me what happened and I told him. Then he told me something that explained why Jeffrey was so mad at me. "What happened in there?" "I don't know. Jeffrey just snapped at me for not telling him about the report and going directly to the director." "But isn't that what you're supposed to do? I mean, the director did assign you this client personally, right? See, even you know about it, but Jeffrey told me that I was supposed to come to him before everybody else." "What?" "Yeah, he told me that this is how things work here." "That's not true. If the director tells you to do something, you do it. The director outranks Jeffrey by a mile." "I know, right? That's what I thought. But Jeffrey just got mad when I told him about this." "Oh, I understand. It's not what you think it is." "What?" See, Jeffrey had someone else in his mind for your job, but the HR hired you because you were far more qualified and experienced. What are you talking about? You seriously don't know? I don't. Jeffrey has a cousin he referred for your job, but he didn't make it because you were hired. Ah, I see. Is this why Jeffrey is so mad at me? Probably. I've been working here for 2 years and I can tell. Jeffrey is the kind of guy who holds grudges for a very long time. Wow. Could this get any better? I mean, how is it my fault? It's not, but that's just how he is. Well, I guess I'll have to keep my head down. I asked some of the other coworkers and it turns out that everything Gary said was true. I thought of going to HR about this, but I decided to sit this one out, hoping that it would turn out fine as time went by. Jeffrey wasn't doing anything to threaten my job. There was occasional yelling, but that's all it was. It started becoming pretty evident to everyone else in the office that Jeffrey had a bone to pick with me. And on the other hand, the director was impressed by my work. Me and my team helped 5 startups in the first 3 months. We had good reviews from all the clients we were working with. Seeing this made Jeffrey realize that he couldn't fire me for no good reason. There has to be a solid reason to fire me. Everything was working out just fine. It had been 6 months since I joined the office. Everything was good. As time went by, Jeffrey seemed to forget about everything, and there were a lot fewer differences than before, but there were some still. On the weekend, I called my team over to my home for dinner, and I also invited Jeffrey. I thought it would be a good way to get to know each other more and mend my frenemy kind of relationship with them. He was hesitant at first, but my team insisted and he agreed. They all came to my house on the weekend. I introduced my wife, Karen, and my son, Justin, to everyone. We had some drinks, and we were just talking about things in the office. We finished our drinks, and my wife and I served dinner. We were all sitting at the dining table, eating and talking to each other. So Jeffrey, Gary told me that you've bought a house for your parents recently. Yes, 2 months ago. Wow, that's amazing. Where is it? Is it in the city? It's a little far from the main city area. My dad wanted his retirement home to be on the outskirts of the city, where he could make a farm and raise some cattle, you know? My grandfather used to be a farmer, and my father spent his entire childhood on a farm. So I guess he just can't get over that life. My uncle had a farm, and when I was a kid, I used to spend all day on the farm, playing with the cows and the chickens. Oh, I didn't know that. You don't look like someone who used to spend her days on a farm. My father moved here when I was 16, and ever since then, I've adapted to this life. That's good, that's good. I love that you've seen and lived 2 different versions of life. I guess you could say that. Dad, I want to go to a farm and play with chickens. Oh, sweetheart, I'll take you to your grand uncle's farm someday. He has a lot of animals there. You can play with them. Or you can come and visit my parents' house sometime. My dad is just starting to raise some chickens. You could spend some time there. My mother makes great sandwiches. Do you like sandwiches? I love sandwiches. Great. We'll go someday then. I admire you, Jeffrey. I respect you for the fact that you've bought 2 houses so far, while Karen and I are still struggling to pay off the loan for this one. It has been rough, but we're managing. It's going to be all right. Hey, Edward, did you send those reports to me? The ones you were working on today? It's almost finished. Just need some touch-ups. We'll finish it and send it to you first thing on Monday. You had to submit it today. But the director told me that the client meeting is not due until 2 weeks. That's right, but I have a lot on my plate. I'm trying to finish as much work as possible. I understand, but me and my team had other things to work on. Those deadlines are much closer. You need to manage and take out time for everything. Well, that's something he needs to learn for sure. And you forgot to make changes to that plan we discussed yesterday. Typical Edward, always forgetting about things. He is quite forgetful. Yeah, tell me about it. Whoa, wow. Easy on the team up roast on me, please. I haven't forgotten about that. The team and I are working on the changes and we'll give you a revised plan by Monday evening. All right then, I'm counting on you. We'll get it done, no worries. Karen and I were going through a rough patch. We were having fights and it was a little difficult for me to spend time at home. And with Justin's vacations going on, it made things a little more tricky. Justin used to stay at home all day and Karen had to take care of him. She used to fight me for not spending enough time at home, but I was trying my best. With Jeffrey in the office burning me and my team with loads of work, It was a little difficult for me to spend more time at home, but I was trying my best. I did feel a little weird when I saw Karen joining teams with Jeffrey to say bad things about me, but I didn't overthink it. I was just glad that the dinner went fine, and I thought that this might make my relationship with Jeffrey better. But I was wrong. Jeffrey stayed the same vindictive boss he was before. He was still yelling at me, trying to ridicule me, and as time went by, it got worse. It had been 2 years since I was working with Jeffrey, and still, I don't remember him talking to me nicely ever. As Gary had said, Jeffrey was the one to hold grudges for a long time, but this long? I was hired 2 years ago, and it wasn't my fault that Jeffrey's cousin didn't get hired. How could he keep a vendetta for something that happened 2 years ago? This was just too much. One day I was working in the office when I got a call from Jeffrey's secretary. Jeffrey was calling me and my entire team to his cabin. We went to his cabin. Jeffrey didn't look so happy. I could tell by his face that it was going to be one of those episodes where he yelled at me, but what I couldn't understand was why he would call me and the entire team to his cabin. And then he said, "Are you guys even serious about your work?" What happened? Did we do something wrong? When have you ever done anything right? What? I don't understand. We had a performance review of everyone and your team has been one that's lagging. What? How is that possible? You and your team are not efficient enough. We need people who can quickly complete their work and move on to the next one. What are you talking about? We're the team that has the best client reviews. Even the director praises us for our work. Reviews don't mean anything here. You're working for the company, not the client. That's true, but we need to make sure that the client is satisfied with our services. That's the only way to retain them. You think I don't know that? I don't see what's the problem here. The problem is that you and your team are too slow. You take weeks or even months to carry out a project. We have a huge client base. We need people who can work with multiple clients. You see, our clients are bigger than the clients other teams handle. There is a lot to be done as compared to other clients. The bigger the business, the more time it takes to analyze and audit them. We have to evaluate our proposed strategy in different scenarios for bigger businesses. Of course, our team takes more time to complete the project. We have bigger clients, so it takes longer. I don't want excuses. I've seen people complete bigger projects in less time. That may be the case, but we don't have enough manpower. It's only the 5 of us, including me. You lend us a couple of extra hands, and I assure you, we'll complete our project sooner. We can't give you any more employees. There's already not enough in the entire office. Exactly my point. There are not enough team members to complete the project sooner. And adding to that, we have to get everything through you first. Sometimes the delays are from your side. You're blaming me for your incompetence. How dare you? I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just putting all the facts on the table for you to judge better. You know what? I don't want to argue with you. You've done nothing since you came here. You're lucky that you have a good team. You're nothing without them. And unfortunately, they'll have to suffer because of you now. You're all fired. Pack your stuff and get out of this office. How can you? You can't fire me for no reason. Actually, I can. I talked to HR and I've already found a replacement for you. And now, because of you, I'm firing your entire team. Oh, I see. That's how it is. Well, all right then. I know what this is all about. Let my team stay, and I'll quit voluntarily. Works for me. Your team stays, but you're fired. Collect your termination letter from HR, sign it, and leave. All right, I'll do it. I was so mad at him, he finally had gathered the spine to fire me. I could have fought him legally, but I didn't want my team to suffer because of something that is between me and Jeffrey. Even though I was mad and wanted to do something about it, I decided to let it go. I didn't want my team to get involved, and honestly, I was just sick of it. I was sick of Jeffrey being cranky for no reason. I was sick of taking orders from him, and I knew he would fire me one day for no good reason. It was inevitable, and it happened. I was mad, but I also had a sense of relief that I won't have to see Jeffrey's face ever again. I signed my termination letter, packed up my stuff, and left the office. I came home and Karen was not there. It was just Justin and the babysitter. The babysitter told me that Karen went out with some of her friends. I paid the babysitter and sent her home. I was sitting on my couch thinking about everything that had happened that day, but I was more concerned about what I would do now and how I would tell Karen that I had lost my job. I was sitting there with my head down when Justin came up to me. I wiped off that sad look from my face, but it was too late. He sensed that his dad was sad. "What happened, Dad?" "Nothing, big guy. Daddy's just a little tired, that's all." "Did something happen at the office?" "Yeah, me and Jeffrey had a little fight, and we're not talking to each other." "You and Mr. Jeffrey?" "Yeah, that's right." "What happened?" "Nothing, just some adult things." "Don't worry, Dad. Mom is friends with Mr. Jeffrey. I'm sure she'll make you guys friends again." "What? Mom is friends with Mr. Jeffrey?" "Yeah, she talks to him on the phone. Mr. Jeffrey also comes home sometimes when you're not here. He always brings my favorite brownie ice cream for me." "What? Mr. Jeffrey comes home to meet Mom?" "Yeah, Daddy. He brings ice cream and chocolates for me. I like Mr. Jeffrey. Mom will make Daddy and Mr. Jeffrey friends again." Yes, she will." "When was the last time Mr. Jeffrey came to our house?" "He came the day before yesterday, after you were gone. I came back from school and Mr. Jeffrey was here. He also brought me new toys. Do you want to see them, Daddy?" "Yeah, sure. But Daddy's a little tired, so he'll just rest here for now. But we'll go to your favorite ice cream shop tomorrow and eat brownie ice cream, all right?" "Promise, Dad?" "Pinky promise. Now be a good boy and do your homework." I was shaken to my core to hear that Jeffrey used to come to my home to meet Karen, but I remained calm. Shortly after, Karen came home and was surprised to see me. I acted normally. I decided not to talk about it until I was 100% sure. After she came home, I told her that I had some work to do and I was going out. She didn't suspect anything. I left the house and I went to Paul's house. Paul is my neighbor and my buddy. I had to confirm, so I went to check if he had ever seen Jeffrey come to my house. "Eddie, what's up?" "Hey, Paul, listen, I wanted to talk to you about something." "Yeah, sure. Wait, come in. Let me get you a beer." "Sure, thanks." "Here you go, bud." "Thanks, man." "You wanted to talk to me about something?" "Yeah, so have you ever seen a man come to my house after I'm gone?" Yeah. I've seen a man, but isn't he your boss, Jeffrey?" "How do you know about Jeffrey?" "Karen told my wife about your cranky boss. The way my wife described it, I figured it was Jeffrey." "How did he look?" "He was tall, healthy, and usually wore a suit. He had short hair and a mole on his cheek." "Yeah, that's Jeffrey all right." "How can anyone miss that mole? It's the size of Haley's Comet." "Ha! What's wrong, Eddie? Is everything all right?" "I think my wife is cheating on me with Jeffrey." "What?" "Yeah, I didn't know that Jeffrey used to come visit my house when I was gone. I just found out. Justin told me that Jeffrey was coming to our house to meet Karen, and I came to you to confirm it." "Well, he does visit your home. I thought he came to your house to get a file or something. I thought it was for work." "Ah, no, it's nothing like that." "Well, we don't know for sure if that's the case, right?" "Yeah, we're not sure." "I suggest you hire a private investigator. Hire him to confirm if Karen is cheating on you, and if it does turn out that way, tell him to collect as much proof of it as he can." "Doesn't sound like a bad idea." "Once you have all the proof, you can go confront Karen about all of this." "Sounds good, but where do I find a private investigator?" "Craigslist, maybe?" "Oh, I know someone who knows a private investigator. I'll talk to him about it if you want." "Yeah, sure, that'll be helpful." "All right. I'll call him and let you know by tomorrow morning." "Works. I should go now." I told Karen that I had some work. She might get suspicious if I'm out for too long. "Grab a pack of beer from my refrigerator. Tell her that you went to do some work and grabbed a pack of beer on your way home." "That's smart." "You're smarter than you look, Paul." "Well, never judge a book by its cover." I grabbed a pack of beer from Paul's refrigerator and I went back home. I didn't tell Karen that I had gone to Paul's house. I just told her that I went to meet a college friend who was in the city for the day and bought some beer on my way back. Karen and I had some beer, had dinner, and then we slept. I couldn't sleep the entire night. I was thinking about Karen and Jeffrey and everything. The next morning, we were having breakfast and I told Karen that Jeffrey had fired me. Karen was shocked to hear that, or was just pretending to. I couldn't tell. I figured that Jeffrey would tell her about this eventually, or maybe he already has. So I came clean about the firing incident. I got dressed and I told her I had an interview for a new job. She wished me luck and I left home. I got a call from Paul and he told me that the private investigator has agreed to work for me. He would meet me in a cafe near the main city area. I went to meet him. I went to the cafe and had no idea how I would recognize the investigator, but he came up to me. Paul had already shared my picture with him, so he recognized me. We sat, ordered some coffee, and went on to talk about it. I told him about everything. I told him that I was still not 100% sure whether it was true or not, and I needed him to find out. He agreed. He took Karen's details. I paid him in advance, and he pushed off. I was sitting all alone in the cafe now, and I was thinking to myself whether whatever I was doing was right or not. But I had to figure it out somehow. If I asked Karen directly, she would have definitely denied, and Jeffrey and Karen would become more cautious, making it difficult for me to find out about them. 2 weeks went by, and I used to go out of the house telling Karen every day that I had an interview or something. I used to tell her that I'll be back in the evening, and I used to spend all my day in a park or a cafe when I didn't have an interview. After 2 weeks, the investigator called me and told me to meet him in the same cafe we met the first time. I went to the cafe and he was already there. I sat at the table and he told me that everything that I was speculating was true. Karen and Jeffrey were having an affair. He showed me pictures of them sitting together in a restaurant, holding hands in the park, and hugging each other. It was more than enough proof for me. Although I saw it coming from miles away, it still hurt me like hell. I felt like someone was suffocating me by sitting down on my chest. Every time I looked at those pictures, it hurt me more. I was sad, angry, and hurt at the same time. I couldn't fathom the fact that my wife, Karen, was having an affair with my boss who always hated me. All I could think of was, how did it happen? When did it happen? Why did I not know about it until now? I was so lost in my thoughts that the investigator placed his hand on my shoulder and told me that it was going to be fine. I guess he could see how devastated I was after knowing the truth. He told me that he has seen a lot of cases like mine in his line of work, and one thing he could tell was eventually everybody moves on, and I'll move on too. But it'll take some time. I thanked him for everything he did, and I paid him the rest of the money, and he was gone. As I was sitting all alone in the cafe, I decided to confront Karen about all of this. I went home and Karen was sitting, watching TV with Justin. Karen was surprised to see me come home so soon. I called Paul and told him to take Justin for a ride to his favorite ice cream shop, as I wanted to talk to Karen about something. Paul instantly understood what was about to go down. Karen was confused about hearing all of this. After a few minutes, Paul came to my house and I told Justin to go with Uncle Paul for some ice cream. Justin went happily. I reached into my bag and slammed the photographs on the table in front of Karen. Karen was horrified to see those photographs. "What is this? Where did you get these?" "Doesn't matter, Karen. What is all of this? You've been having an affair with Jeffrey behind my back?" "I am so sorry, Edward. I didn't mean to hurt." "Too late now. I want a divorce." "No, please, don't do this." "This is it, Karen. You should be happy. You can go be with Jeffrey all you want. We're done." "Please don't. Edward, listen to me." I dashed out of the house, got in my car, and went to the office. The guards tried to stop me, but I was too angry. I entered the office and I looked for Jeffrey, but he wasn't there. I asked his secretary and she told me that he had gone to a meeting. I went to the director to tell him about all of this and how Jeffrey fired me because of his personal issues. Director's assistant tried to stop me, but since I had a bond with the director, he let me in. I told him about everything and told him about how he fired me for no reason because he was having an affair with my wife. I also showed him the photographs. The director was shocked to see it. He told me that he would set up a panel to inquire about this, and he would personally head the inquiry. He said he was going to handle it. Hearing him say these things gave me a sense of relief, and I left the office. I came home and told Karen that I was filing a divorce, and she could stay in the house until the divorce was finalized. She cried after hearing this and asked for my forgiveness, but I had already made up my mind. The same day in the evening, Jeffrey came to the house and begged me to take back the complaint. He told me that he would lose his job and no other firm would ever hire him because of this, but I didn't care. I told him that he was going to pay for everything he had done to me. He cried and cried and cried, but I was in no mood to be merciful to him. 3 weeks later, the inquiry set by the director was complete, and they found Jeffrey guilty. They fired him and reappointed me in his place. I told Jeffrey to pack his stuff from the cabin, as it was my cabin from now on. He looked at me angrily and I told him to get lost. The satisfaction it gave to my heart to see Jeffrey pay for his deeds in our line of business, word travels fast. I doubt any other firm will ever hire him now. He was on his own now. It has been 4 months since everything happened. I have no idea where Jeffrey is or what he's doing. The divorce process is still going on, and we have our last court hearing next month. We'll finally be divorced by the end of the next month. Karen has told me that she would go back to her parents' house after the divorce. I feel bad about it sometimes, but she made her bed, and now she had to sleep in it. And I was okay with that. Everything is going great in the office. I have a huge team now, and everybody is happy that I came back. They tell me that I saved them from that hothead grumpy Jeffrey. I report to the director now directly, and he is happy that I replaced Jeffrey. Jeff did a lot of bad things, but he did teach me how to become a good manager by not acting like him. That I can give to my grumpy ex-boss.